If you've been playing Stardew Valley for a while, you may have noticed some suspicious activities from Mayor Lewis, and I wanted to talk about it. The first thing we're going to talk about is him taxing the local town. So every once in a while, you get a little event with Mayor Lewis. Like, let's say you go into the blacksmith. Sometimes you see Mayor Lewis in there collecting some taxes, and if you talk to him, he says, well, he's collecting taxes from Clint, basically just a local business tax. Another point is, the town raises a bunch of money for Penny so she can buy her children new books, essentially, to help with studies. And here, Robin says, since we're funding the town's education without touching the town coffers, we'll be lowering our business tax, right? Lewis obviously does not look happy with this. I think this is because he knows that this is going to hurt his own account in the end, because I feel like he's skimming off the top. Like, there's just no way he isn't. Like, I'm sorry, Pelican Town is nice and all, but there's absolutely no chance. I have made 90 million coins. And it still looks like this. Like, we should be a bustling city by now. I'm rich. So what I think is happening is Mayor Lewis is skimming money off the top. He could even be collaborating with the governor and maybe paying off the governor so he doesn't get reported for the obvious abuse and like complete mismanagement of Pelican Town. Another thing he constantly does is take credit for your hard work, similar to Pierre. In a cutscene, Pierre claims that our crops, the ones that we sold him, he grew himself in his own backyard, which is obviously not true. And Mayor Lewis essentially does the exact same thing because he says that the museum was funded by local tax money. Yeah, sure, buddy. That local tax money funding probably went into your own pocket, but it's obviously not true since we spend like hours slaving away in the mines, collecting artifacts, cracking open geodes, etc. So he's clearly already dishonest just by this and everything else I've mentioned so far. So I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say he's skimming off money and just using it for himself or on Marnie. And this brings us to Marnie and her relationship with Lewis. So you may not have noticed this really, but Marnie is actually one of the biggest businesses in Stardew Valley. So the four businesses obviously are Pierre's, Joja Mart, Robin's, and Clint, and of course Marnie's. So there's not that much competition to begin with, and when you have a complete monopoly on animals and you can charge hay for whatever you want, in this case 50G, and your animals will literally starve without them. Like, you're essentially like holding my animals' lives for a hostage. You could obviously make huge amounts of money, so this obviously probably shouldn't be allowed, considering that's just extreme animal abuse in my opinion. Mayor Lewis should step in and lower prices, obviously. That's just what a reasonable mayor would do. Maybe not incredibly lower them, but I think a little bit of lowering would probably do it well. But I think what's actually happening is Marnie is getting buddy-buddy with Lewis, you know, obviously. We all know about their little fling, you know, jumping in bushes in the middle of the night, heading over to her house late at night. I think, she's getting buddy-buddy with Mayor Lewis and also paying him off. I think there's absolutely no other option. I just don't know why Mayor Lewis would allow this to happen otherwise. So I think it's a combination of those two factors. Marnie paying off Mayor Lewis and her, you know, doing the thing with him. Another thing to mention is that Mayor Lewis constantly leaves the town in complete and utter disrepair when you arrive at the town. You know, the community center is completely run down. Joja is destroying the environment by dumping garbage. You know all that garbage you find when you're fishing? I think we should blame Mayor Lewis for that personally. Because if he had better regulated environmental standards, then this wouldn't have been happening, you know? As well as that, there's also another thing I want to talk about. Mayor Lewis is so lazy that he has to use a literal magical bear that he doesn't even know exists. He could have just left everything garbage. Essentially, there's garbage down here, and you have to pay this Mr. Raccoon bear, you know, it's heavily debated. I would say raccoon probably. You have to give him fish or cooking to help him get rid of the trash, when Mayor Lewis should just use the millions of dollars I've made to pay that off, of course. But he doesn't, probably because, one, too busy buying like fancy vacation homes. I believe he mentioned that in one cutscene. Not cutscene, sorry, one line. I saw that on Reddit. So I think he's too busy spending all the town's money on things for himself. Because obviously any good mayor would clean up pollution around the town, you know, make sure the town is the best that it can possibly be, and look the best that it can possibly be. But it just does nothing, because the community center is in disrepair until you get there. The library and museum is completely empty until you get there. We have to collect books that are literally just scattered around the dirt. How did they get there? Who knows, maybe burglars broke in, stole all the books, realized they were valueless, and dumped them all over the ground. And Mayor Lewis has walked past them thousands of times and just never bothered to pick them up, you know? I think that's a realistic possibility. I want to bring up Lewis and Marnie one more time now. So, you know, I think Lewis is also just like kind of a wimp, you know, because he won't admit his relationship with Marnie to the town, because I think it would kind of show to maybe Robin and Clint that he obviously, you know, Lewis is in her pocket, you know, making it so I don't think she has to pay any taxes. She's given her better treatment when it comes to, you know, anything, really. So I don't think that should be allowed. I think he's obviously extremely corrupt, and he doesn't want the town to know. That's why he doesn't tell him, not because he's too afraid or something like that. Another part I want to touch on is how weird the personal quests are. Like, dude, come on. I don't want to be finding your underpants in your girlfriend's bedroom. Like, come on, dude, just get a grip. I don't want to be getting your truffle oil. We all know what that's for. Please leave me alone. He is also in complete and utter denial about how the farm is, talking about how the town is going great when you first get here. He sucks. I hate him. He also just stands around all day doing absolutely nothing while I'm breaking my back on my farm. I hate him almost as much as Haley. I think he's breaking the law in some aspects, but he's not quite at the point where, you know, the feds are gonna get after him. So I think he's safe to go for a couple more years, but man, oh man, we gotta find a way to overthrow this guy in 1.6. But what I also hate is that we're currently 559,000 subscribers behind the official Obama YouTube channel, so change that by subscribing now.